for the back 30 acres of the property, which is zoned light industrial or industrial with upland, basically upland wooded area. Um, Provided that that space as far as the design to Hancock Associates, and they have come up with this subdivision plan that we've submitted based on what you see before you. It's A&R except for one small part in the middle, which hopes to future work off of Wayne Greenwood's piece at 58 Main. But tonight we're hoping to come before you in regards to lots A and B, as you can see on the plan before you. We had a couple of folks come to us interested in putting up a building with some offices and some warehouse and a storage yard for landscaping interests, much like are in other parts of town. And that is the plan you see before you currently. It's for the two back lots in the subdivision plan that face off Bolton Woods Way, lots A and B. Originally, when the applicants came to me interested in the property, there was two of them. Unfortunately, based on their relationships and the needs of one of them, they withdrew as far as being interested in purchasing one of the two lots. Those applicants, as per conversations with us, basically told us what they wanted to see in regards to the plan for the facility, which is what you see before you, scaled and modeled by Hancock at that early stage when we were still doing the subdivision plan. So we had the ability to put this kind of like initial treatise on this plan to show you so that we could at least come before you and gauge the town's interest in having these nice folks move forward with their interests in being business owners in the town of Bolton. There's obviously a lot more work to do than just this plan, but we did want to come before you just to hear your initial thoughts on what's been devised regarding this, and seeing and confirming to make sure that the town itself would like to see these applicants move forward with further expenditures on the necessary components of what makes a successful special permit application, given that their interest is something that is only partially substantiated by the use table. Obviously, they want an office building with some kind of warehouse component. So office building is, not really the question, but obviously some degree of having a warehouse in there requires a special permit, as does the use of storage yards, as they're requesting for bulk materials like mulch or rock or things like that. The original plan was devised in a way that shared a common driveway down the middle of both lots rather than try to put it on one or the other. Both lots do conform to A&R with 200 linear feet of road front each, so they are entitled to their own entrances, but just in the spirit of collaboration and trying to keep entrances as far away from the abutting neighbors up the hill. That was the thought also, and also not necessarily wasting any more, of the lot to roadway, kind of what do you call it? Redundant kind of development.
Reduce the impervious pavement too. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that'll help with that stuff too. So, in devising this, we obviously followed the 1/3, 2/3 ratio for holdback on conservation, which is why you see all the stuff on the plan kind of pushed to the back of the lot. And additionally, we tried to add a bit more because we tried to go zero buffer between the two lots. We thought we tried to add more buffer between the upper lot and whatever that space is where that common trail walks through and across, and then obviously the neighborhood behind it. So we've tried to be sensitive in the development of these lots to maximize as much of the holdback on the conservation component towards the neighborhood as possible. So that's what you're looking at before you. The applicant had expressed an interest in also doing, if that was within the town's interest, to have kind of buffer restoration and/or improvement along the road front. So they're obviously interested in trying to be good neighbors, as am I. Because as of now, I'm the one stepping into that role with them that the former applicant with them was going to do. So when they came to the town and talked to Planner Harding regarding this, there was two of them, and they were each coming individually for their lots. Now the Apple Services Corp, which is the remaining applicant, and myself are going to proceed with the original plan as discussed, and whether or not I sell that lot later for the same purpose to another type of similar corporation that does similar work, or if they need more space later, or however it goes, or I rent it to similar interest. We're still interested in moving forward with this plan as presented before you. So we just wanted to come forth, introduce ourselves. I know Adriano is on the phone, I believe, and Andre, who are from Apple Services Corporation. They can introduce themselves in a moment. But I just want to put it forth that this is the best of quite a bit of work in terms of trying to figure out how to respect the neighbors and keep a buffer and try to be sensitive to the needs of growing the town's industrial area in a way that's consistent with its values and wishes. So we're just here to present what we have before you for any kind of spitballing, any kind of concerns you have. Basically looked at the preliminary plan, any questions you have, because our intent is to then follow this up based on gauging your interest that we proceed, obviously, with a trip to Hancock, requests for all the more involved calculations like stormwater and such that you're going to need for a successful and complete special permit application, which we hope to put before you in the next, say, 30 to 60 days. So that's why we're here, and I thank you for your time and your questions about this plan. I can answer whatever questions you have, as well as Adriano or Andre as well, who are also on the phone with us from Apple Services Corporation. So I'll just
Well, that's
leave it.
great, Nicholas.
I'll leave it at that.
Take a breath, Nicholas. You're good.
Yeah.
Thank you for the detailed explanation of everything. So just really quick, so are we talking about developing one lot, lots, now that you said the other purchaser backed out?
No, so as drawn, I still want to proceed and put myself in the position of the quote unquote other purchaser and co-develop as per the original work that we discussed, because it seems like a reasonable plan based on just the variables of trying to conserve use and not cover as much of any more of the property we need to with impermeable services and things like that. So we would like to proceed ideally as you see the plan before you, obviously with your input going forward, so we can submit something that's going to be congruent with your wishes and interests for such.
Sure. Yeah. So, but I mean, if we're doing a special permit, and Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, we're doing a permit for a specific business, right? Or is
Currently, you're doing it for Apple Services Corporation on the lower lot, which is B, I believe, and then I would follow myself as Cottage City Distributors as the applicant for A, with the intent of either then selling the lot as developed to another interested party like Apple Services Corporation, or leasing it to said corporation as the landlord if possible, based on your approval. Because it would seem that to put another business of a similar type next to it was their original intent, and if they're willing to do so, as we proceed, regardless of the other person they were participating with, it would seem that we could do so effectively. If for some reason that's not congruent with your wishes, we can obviously split the notion of this work and try to go individually as people present. But I still have to come before you with some kind of plan for some kind of development. And it seemed that based on the original scheme with these guys and how they had another person with them, I might see a good start to the process and something that might be consistent. And a lot of those things can be done at the same time in regards to the development of that level of the project, because it really is like levels of kind of creating these flat spots in the terrain by which to kind of develop and terrace the hill.
no.
So
Yeah. So hold on one second. So Pam, so first let me start with, is there proposed use allowed in this is light industrial, this area here?
This is the industrial zoning district, and we do allow bulk storage
Okay.
within that zoning district by special permit, and that would include storage of lumber. I spoke to the building commissioner, who's our zoning enforcement officer, and he agreed that a landscaping yard would fall within that category.
Okay. And now if we're talking about two separate businesses on two separate parcels, that's I mean, that would be two special permits, right?
Correct. The way it's laid out on two separate lots, it would be, yes.
Yeah. And would it be would normally do a special permit if there was no business necessarily identified to go into lot A?
We just
Or
have
would
it general office use, if that's what they want to permit it as, and if it changes, they would be required to come back and amend the permit.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and now I believe we did all these A&Rs a few months ago, is that correct? So lots A and B already exist, or did we not A&R those?
Those were part of the A&R that you endorsed a couple months ago.
Yeah, yeah, and just so when it says proposed lot A and B, those are actually existing today, lot B, correct?
I I haven't verified the A&R is recorded, but it was endorsed and is
Yeah.
entitled to be created.
This
Okay.
document precedes the, it was submitted to Planner Harding when but just before you last
I
met to
gotcha.
discuss A&R. That's why it still says proposed. So I apologize
Okay,
on that.
no worries. I like my memory's not so great, so I wanted to make sure that we actually did do this AR already and that the lots exist. Okay, great. No,
I joined a little late. Do you mind zooming out so I could see where these two lie in that overall plan?
they're the upper lots. So on the left side of the plan
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
is Bolton Woods Way.
So they're between Bolton Woods Way and Atlantic Microwave. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
They're
what is
off
now?
of-
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Pam. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Pam.
They're right behind the HVAC company that we approved last year. And they have frontage on Bolton Woods Way. So
Okay.
this driveway would be accessed off of Bolton Woods Way.
How much of a tree buffer would Bolton Woods Way residents have from this then, I guess?
Is that substantially up the hill from this property, I believe? It's not super close from my recollection.
No, I can pull up the just 1 second. I can pull up the GIS maps. There is an open space parcel between that and the residential uses.
If I may, in
Few
that
hundred feet.
space, I'm Andre, I'm from Apple Tree Services. In that space, there's about 100 feet of wooded area. And then within our area on Lot B, we would also, in our conservation buffer, be willing to put in evergreens all along the back to create even more buffer. And if you guys would like, we'd be happy to as well. Between the roadway and our properties, there's a common Bolton Woods area. We'd also be happy to plant along that strip of the road. So even driving up the road, you wouldn't really see in. We'd keep the best trees that are currently there and then fill in the rest with evergreens, and we could maintain that as well.
Yeah.
There are
this doesn't-
trees on the lot right now, is what you're saying.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
talking about that buffer space, this small buffer space between the community and us, which would be right behind this line. So
Yep.
yeah, so then so there's about 100 feet with the walking trail, and then we have another 30 feet which we're designating as part of the conservation, and then we can plant within that buffer as well, evergreens to really seclude that. And then along the front as well, you'll notice that our lots are actually kind of set back from the road, and there's a parcel owned by the town there. We're happy to plant along that entire parcel, so residents driving up wouldn't even see back there.
No, what I was saying was kind of more for the board. Like right now, where lots A and B is all wooded.
Correct. Currently,
Those are not cleared lots.
No.
Those are
No.
just the trees that. Yeah.
Right.
Can you go back to I'm trying to envision, I'm trying to like overlay it in my head to see what it looks like.
Which
Like,
do you want?
can you see? Yeah. Can you see what?
Unfortunately, this is like the old lot. Like it doesn't have the A&Rs, so it's tough to see.
But
Well,
it's the space
so-
in between the existing building and
Right.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
so-
property, right?
But
it's where
but
those trees
I-
are, Eric.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm wondering like between
Right.
the residential lots, how much space is there? Does it go right up to the edge there? It doesn't look like it, but
No, it's that buffer. That's about 100 feet. There's a walking trail there.
okay, so that's the 100 feet you're talking about, and then there's like another 20 feet or so
And
Okay.
then in our plan, it's an additional 30 feet of conservation that
30.
we're designating.
Okay. Okay.
We reserved adding any more buffer between us so we could add more to the space between us and the neighborhood, so we could build that up. Because
Yeah.
more than that, and the lots start to get kind of long and skinny and less usable. So we did
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
apply what we would have made, and that's the thing about trying to work together to create something that's kind of more cohesive. Is we can use that
Yeah.
buffer that we would have put between the two lots to kind of protect the neighborhood from us by giving them more buffer. So that's
Yep.
the
Got
logic
it.
behind why you see the plan the way you do. So
Got
thank
it.
you.
Yep. Got it.
Yep. And just for the board, like the point of the meeting tonight is not really to get into all the nitty-gritty specifics that would happen during the special permit, obviously, like agreeing to conditions and things like that. We're really just sort of um you know, showing this to the board to see how we feel about it.
Yeah.
Mhm. I like that there's a shared driveway between both proposed lots. I think that's definitely a positive. Is there potential to maybe share? I'm assuming both of these buildings would require some kind of water, like to be able to drill wells and such.
There might be an opportunity to share utilities like that based on the agreements we make between us. I know that Jacob from Hancock had said we might be able to share things like retention ponds and things like that also. So we're not opposed to creating a shared environment up on that level, because I think in the end it'll really, that kind of cooperation will eliminate unnecessary redundancy. And as long as Apple Tree and myself are in agreement with how that works going long term, we already have agreements between us. Should one of us want to divest from the other, we can still have the ability to, like, take over the collaborative space otherwise together, or conditionalize it based going forward. So there's no problems should one of us need to exit and the other one doesn't want to take them out as far as acquisition goes. So I like to think we'll create a nice shared reality on that level between those two parcels, and doing things like the common driveway will certainly push any access to that property further down the hill from those houses. And we think that's important, and rather than adding two driveways or having it in and out, on each end of the thing, and cooperating that way, to have the center line entrance, which basically puts us as far back as we can, for the first lot, is, it's literally as far away from them as from the folks in the neighborhood as it can be at that point, right? So it does alleviate the design does create certain niceties that lend itself to being sensitive to the neighborhood next to it. So I'm glad you guys see that. So thank you for the recognition.
Mhm.
And Andre, you said you have this is an existing you have. Are you located somewhere now, or is this a business you're trying to start?
No, it's my father's business. He's
Okay.
on the call. We've been just looking for land that we can buy. We've been renting. We're currently in Acton. But we're from Hudson originally, and so this is right up our alley. And I don't think there's a day I'm not on 117. So
Yeah.
it's just a really nice spot for our business. We do mostly residential homes, and we're just looking for a place to start our own home.
Okay. And like, how many trucks do you have as part of the business today? And
Yeah,
is the
so
number going to
we
stay sort of the
currently
same?
have, sorry, what was that second question?
So I'm sorry. What was the name of the business?
Apple Tree Services.
Uh,
So
and yeah, just
yeah,
and so
we're
you're
a
you're
small
based in
family
Acton now.
company. It's
Yep.
my father, myself, my mom's in the office. We only have about 10 guys and about 10 trucks as well. Few machines, which we really just use in the winter for snow plowing. And most towns that we've tried to buy land in, they'll have like a contractor's yard designation, which you guys don't. So um, that's why we wanted to go through bulk storage. And then, after a couple meetings with Miss Harding, she said that likely they could join that into this like landscaper slash contractor's yard, which would really be our intent, is really have a space where we can have a little bit of office, some warehouse in the building, have a couple bays, and we can run our business out of there. We're not doing any manufacturing, right? We're not like producing mulch or anything. We buy it for our own use. We're not like doing any really work on site. It's really a place to park the cars at night, meet in the morning, get the cars and leave. So it's really just finding a space.
Do you do any
would-
tree chipping
No,
or
no, we
stump
wouldn't.
grinding? No, okay.
No, we wouldn't be doing any of that on site. We don't do tree work, although the name is Apple Tree. It's more landscaping maintenance oriented than tree work. We'll have to take a few trees down that are currently on the property, but no, we don't do any of that work.
Looking for lot B or lot A? Or does
Ours would
maybe,
be Lot B.
okay, so the closer one.
And I know that currently, as of right now, there's kind of a question mark on the tenancy or ultimate, like short of myself starting a landscape operation and then initiating myself as the other landscaping tenant and then transitioning. I think I'd rather try to find someone who's in that business already. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Jepson Tree Service. He's someone who was invaluable to us in terms of help and what happened with the rest of the first part of 58 Main Street. And I know he's looking for a new home. He asked us about maybe trying to find space for him for his gear and stuff. So I know there's people out there that want to be in Bolton. Even someone like Jepson is looking, and whether it's him or somebody else, I know that creating this shared facility with Apple Tree would be good for everybody, I think. So hopefully you guys can kind of guide me in that as someone that owns the property, and would also like to see it in the right hands. If Apple Tree's development partner hadn't kind of like exited, I wouldn't be stepping in. I was happy to make this move with these guys all the way through. It just took time because we had to get through the A&R procedure first before we were able to, legally designate these lots and give these guys legal descriptions so they could actually move on something. So, that's all we're really here to do, is make sure you want us to go through the work to be here. Because, if you don't want us to be here, we understand, like, every business isn't right for every town, right? But we don't want to just do all this extra work to just get rejected. We just want to make sure you guys like what you see, and we can get your input. And we're very open to proceeding, in collaboration with the town. We just want to proceed in a way that works for everybody and sensitive to everybody's needs. So thank you for your input on what you see before you.
Appreciate that. And what I do want to reiterate though is even though the two lots would have really identical purposes, it's still two separate special permits.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Each one has to go through the process for.
Absolutely,
So, yeah.
absolutely. But we're going to try to move in tandem just because of the fact that they're so aligned in terms of the design and things like that. So we totally realize it'd be two special permits, two fees, two applications, two reviews, all that stuff. We get it, but we just want to also see if it's okay based on this strategy, if we kind of move in concert, and that way you're kind of hearing the two at the same time. And obviously, one can only move as fast as the other, so we understand that. We just want to come before you because we're new at this, and we want to make sure we're not doing things wrong. We want to make sure we understand your position on how you'd like to see us proceed, things like that. And Planner Harding's been more than generous with her time to speak to both Andre and Adriano and I separately regarding our interest in working with you guys in Bolton. So she's been amazing so far.
Okay, yeah.
We really appreciate all her input thus far.
Pam's
And
great.
that's really what's gotten us to where we are with this so far is even like we've already started talking to her like months ago. So like to finally be before you is nice with something that we can start talking about together.
Okay.
So thank you.
So what I'll say is so I'm currently the chair is out. So I'm speaking just on behalf of myself as a member of the board. Is I think a landscape business is I don't have a particular issue with it there. I think it makes sense for that spot. I will let other members of the board also speak. The things we would be concerned about would be the hours of operation, what sort of materials are stored on, those sorts of things we would get into in the special permit. But just as a concept, I'm okay with this. And let me just open it up to other members of the board to see if they have any thoughts on it.
Can you hear me okay? I'm driving, so.
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think this I like the location because it's kind of like tucked in the corner of the property, and it leaves the other 4 lots with like 117 access for maybe if we open up the industrial zone for more uses in the future, which we're going to talk about the table of uses. So I mean, I don't, like you said, Mike, I don't have a problem with this these 2 businesses in that location. It seems pretty good to me. It seems like kind of like makes best use of the property. So I think I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to basically echo that same sentiment. I think this is an appropriate and good use of the land. Only concern would be just about the details of maybe storing some chemicals on site if that's part of the business. Um, just want to make sure that there's a good plan for how to handle those kind of chemicals for the business.
And again,
I'll answer
don't
that
need
real
to
quick.
get
At the
it
moment, we're no
tonight.
chemicals.
Okay.
So, and hours of operation, I saw the special permit that was applied for the lower business for the HVAC business. And I thought the request that you guys had made or agreed upon very reasonable. So I'm sure that we can align on that as well.
Are you selling materials to the public or is it just for the business?
Just for the business. There won't be any wholesale or retail.
Pam, I'm interested. This is like nothing on the business or not, but so like tax wise for the town, it's like land. So whatever infrastructure they build, so there'll be like a new assessment on the land with the infrastructure, and that would be the new tax base. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's based on a combination of the use and the structures on the property.
Yeah, okay. So it would bump up the tax revenue from this land a bit, not tons, but whatever the assessment is on the structure.
Right.
In the improvements to the land, right?
Yep.
I mean, basically, you're getting like the fact if we were just going to do
Yeah.
storage yards, you wouldn't see nearly the appreciable value. But the fact that we're going to put a office building with a warehouse on each lot, you're going to see additional
Right.
tax revenue from those asset improvements.
Yeah,
And as
yeah,
all these
so-
lots fill in, you're gonna see all those lots bring all those
Oh,
improvements, which will bring
yeah.
all that additional tax revenue that you guys can assess on an annual basis.
Yeah. Jim,
Yeah, it
any
was
comments?
more of a
Or-
general
oh,
question to make sure.
sorry, that's
I
one.
was
Jim,
just saying it's more.
hang on 1 sec.
Oh, okay.
Jim, do you have any comments?
No, not at this time.
Okay, Eric, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just, want to make sure we maximize the value of this land, but like I was saying, this does seem tucked away and it leaves the main street, lots available for other properties. So I don't know. I'm happy with this. It's good.
Yeah. So I think, as a board, we'd say, and start the process and again, get into all the details as we go through the special permit, but it seems like the board's amenable to this use case.
That's great news. Thank you very much for that. We will proceed immediately to meet with Hancock, who's been the engineer of record since the days of old with Covum and Atlantic Microwave, and they already have a good handle on how to proceed with this forward. So we should have something to you hopefully within a few cycles of your meeting, and we can hopefully within a short period after that make an application. So if there's any
Okay,
questions
great.
along the
Oh,
way, please let us know.
hang
and-
on just 1 second. So sorry, Pam, I didn't ask you any concerns or issues with this as a
Just-
use?
The only thing that came to mind was the buffering. Now that I know they're not doing a lot of any tree work on site, the noises will be kept likely to a minimal. So buffering, trying to keep the storage out of sight and making sure that the trucks are parked to the rear of the building. I'll assume that the parking up front is for pedestrian cars. We'd probably like to see any sort of construction or work vehicles located to the rear and try and keep as much of a buffer from the residential roadway as possible because it does access a residential subdivision up the street.
Yep. Great thoughts. Yeah, that's the sort of stuff we get into as we go through the special permit is really like the details of where all the, where the structures are, where the parking is and all that. Okay, I think so I think you got our thoughts on this and we look forward to work in the future.
Great. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much for all your help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is Forbush Mill discussion. Review of meeting notes and next. So since Bob's not here tonight. Pam, unless you have something pressing that you want to discuss with us on.
The draft's not ready to share.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
fine to skip over that.
Yeah. So we'll skip over this for tonight. And the next item is the review of revised land use table.
Michael, do we have to make a motion to skip stuff?
No.
Nope. Oh,
Only
okay.
if it's a public
Yeah.
hearing.
It was a
Got
public
it.
hearing.
Got it. Thank you.
This is the ultimate power of chair.
We can do whatever makes sense.
How convincing.
So yeah, revised land use. You want to go through that? Was that in the
I
packet?
provided a link to the OneDrive,
Oh,
which you were able to
yep.
open it. It wasn't in there as an attachment.
Okay, and so to be clear, what we are discussing is potentials to the land use table.
I'm sorry, Mike, you went out a little bit.
Right? Oh man, it is like I am fine on every other meeting. It's a thing, but man. So we're discussing potential changes to the land use table.
Yes.
For annual town meeting May. That's what we're doing here?
Yes.
Okay. So 2-family duplex.
Well, I highlighted that. That was new criteria to be a housing choice designation community by the state requires that you allow what they call multifamily housing by right under their definition of multifamily housing. It's 2 or more and a duplex qualifies. So I put it in there and highlighted it. I also noting that we're starting our housing production plan next month, and so that'll also probably have some housing recommendations in there. So I just put it in there as something to consider, but it'd also be valid if we wanted to wait and see what our HPP recommends.
I mean,
I will say, historically, I think, yeah, historically we voted against this, but like, I think you can make it in a way that, you know, it doesn't appear to be like the standard duplex.
well, I mean, so I agree, like, and I don't know if the board has voted against it, and if they have, it's because they felt the town would vote against it. I think people's
I
perception
wasn't saying the
housing-
board voted against it. I was just saying there's been sentiment in town against it is all I'm saying.
I know I
wasn't
agree.
saying-
Yeah, I agree with that. But like I think that changed a bit. Maybe I'm wrong, but I certainly wouldn't mind trying to get anything for more housing is good in my book. The only problem with doing it is if someone complains about it, that ends up torpedoing
Yeah.
the things you want. So for now I say yep, let's leave it there. And then we can just let's run through the other changes real quick then.
But just on that, another note too is we've also just discussed kind of dividing up the residential zoning districts so we have more than one. And if we do that in the future, we could be more restrictive into where the duplex would be allowed. It only has to be allowed in one zoning district by right, not throughout all the residential zoning districts.
Okay.
Everything highlighted in green is a change to the existing use table. There's not much in the residential aspects of things other than the duplex. And under the commercial uses, we added a bit more, and this should be in the. I'm not sure.
Sorry. Every green is an addition.
The green is an addition to the existing use table. Black is what's there.
Okay.
And then what are the highlights, Pam, again? What are the highlights?
Just things that I wanted to discuss. This
Highlight.
we allow hotels, motels. they're not currently allowed in the industrial zoning district, but I know we had discussed making them permissible, especially with the,
Yeah, I definitely, and that's what I was getting at with the last thing is like definitely, you know, I think that's a good spot for a potential hotel with the Bose School or whatever we call it.
Yeah.
So I think adding that as a special permit is good.
and then under additional uses, studios, personal and general service establishments, so that'd be like nail salons, spas, for-profit schools that wouldn't be exempt from zoning. They were included as a special permit in business and in industrial, medical office buildings. I put in by right in the business zoning district and special permit in limited business and industrial, veterinary establishments.
And Pam, childcare, daycare, those are allowed today in residential, right?
Are we to that? Did we skip over that? Or it's
I think
coming
the-
up, right?
Oh, I thought the residential was at the top. I apologize.
That's just the left column.
I have that as a separate use. I think it's down a little further.
So,
Okay. I see.
Pam, what do banks permitted as today? We did a special permit for Clinton Savings Bank. So what use were they under prior to this?
That was allowed by special permit. I don't think banks are called out as a separate use.
Is considered office use or something?
Yeah, it must have been considered an office use. It's not called out as a separate use in our existing table. So I pulled it out because it tends to be different and they typically have drive-throughs.
Hmm.
Mm. One that's probably worth discussing was the gasoline service stations with related retail. So my thought was something like a Cumberland Farms or something where there's like a sandwich shop or something associated with the gas stations.
Yep.
Pam, the purpose of being much more granular with these categories is I guess, can you explain that?
Yeah, we've had trouble kind of categorizing some things when people come in to see if it's an allowed use, and if it doesn't fit neatly into a category, it's technically not an allowed use. So
I
if we
see.
could fit it neatly into something, then we wouldn't be allowed to permit it, and since we don't allow use variances, we would just have to kind of turn that proposal away.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
When it comes to gas stations, I know like there's a max tank size, which doesn't mix with what most gas stations want. So I don't know if that's something we want to talk about.
I didn't understand. There's a gas station tank maximum size. Is that a Board of Health regulation?
I'm not sure. It's somewhere in the bylaws that I think it's to like 20,000 gallons and typically gas stations want 40.
It's okay. It's not in our zoning bylaw, so I'll have to figure out where that is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
in this table anyway, like this is just the use table.
Yeah, it's not in our bylaw that I've seen. I'm wondering if it's a Board of Health reg. Or I'll ask around and see if that's in a different location.
What's a drive-in establishment? Is that like a movie theater?
Yes. Yep.
Is there anything else in that category?
Not typically. Oops. We can define it in our definitions.
data storage centers. No, 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 no,
Yeah, no, we're not a good place for a data center.
no.
And then something that just became permitted by the state was the marijuana consumption sites.
Yep.
I put it in there as a use for discussion, but I didn't know which way we wanted to go with that.
Do we have to allow it? Is that like the other ones where if we don't pass our own, amend our existing bylaws to say something about that?
Yeah, you can't, you're not supposed to legally exclude it from the town.
Yeah. Which is if we don't have our own rules about it, whatever the state's rules apply.
Yes.
I have a dumb question. Is a marijuana social consumption site is to marijuana as a bar is to alcohol? Is that basically
Yes.
the okay?
Yep.
Got it.
Can you not allow a bar?
Yeah, I think you cannot allow a bar.
Some towns, yeah, exactly. Some towns restrict them, right?
Mhm.
So then why couldn't, as a town, you not that I would want to, but I'm saying why couldn't you not allow a marijuana consumption place? Just,
Well, I mean, when we first, did the marijuana reg, look, we had to pass our own, or there was a you could ban it out. It's a very high bar to pass to ban it. So we didn't want to do that anyway. So if you allow it, you had to allow the uses and define them by your own rules and regs or special permits. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, is the Bolton Bean gonna turn into a
Well,
you know
we can take it out and then buy.
it's worth discussing though. I mean, I forgot that they had legalized this, and so we probably do need to update our existing
Yeah, we don't have anywhere
bylaws
that
around it.
it really fits into a category under our current bylaw.
Yeah, like we didn't pass like a marijuana overlay district or anything. We just said special permit business.
It's also something we can wait on until
Yeah,
we develop more detailed regulations. It is kind of a new use that's permitted, so.
yeah.
I mean, I will say it's definitely much more of a flash point. Like I know people are objectionable to the smell, so you said Bolton Bean, like I'm sure neighbors would not be, I don't know, like smell wise and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I wouldn't want to upend an entire bylaw change to put in something that people object to. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we should figure out how to handle it.
And Pam, I saw the childcare line item above.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I skipped over that.
That's okay. I'm just curious, asking for a friend.
Childcare is defined under 40A, section 3, which is an exempt use, and family daycares are are allowed if you they're semi-exempt, in meaning is if the bylaw doesn't address them, they're allowed by right. If you do address them, you can restrict where they are located. So I included it in there as a use, and put definitions down below so it's clear what they are.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
So if you want some time to go over this, and we can discuss it at next meeting and go over any edits anyone wants to.
Yeah, that's
I-
it. It's
I-
probably best to figure out which would be controversial and
Yeah.
how
I
we want to
kind of
handle.
highlighted what I thought, well, these are new definitions, that's why I highlighted those, not because they're controversial. But
So, like,
the
so,
two-family and the marijuana use, I thought would
yeah,
be
the
topics of concern.
like so motel hotel where you highlighted special permit. So I assume that just means it was no before.
Yeah, it was not allowed in the industrial.
I think we should go. I'm honestly shocked. Like a lot of these weren't already existing use cases. I think we have so many of these businesses in town, or at one point.
Everything
never-
was, yeah, everything was like an office use or a retail facility. There was nothing kind of being more specific, so we thought it'd be better to include additional details where things can fit neater.
Yeah, I mean, so years ago, I can't remember if you were here for this, Pam, or not. That, like that tractor company wanted to buy the Colonial Candies and have like a bunch of diggers and stuff like that. And we that or you or the building inspector said that basically fell under used car sales.
Yes.
And even so, that didn't seem right. And I don't know if that would be a garage or repair shop. So I don't know if are we catching that with any other thing? I mean, that was just one example.
Mhm.
But that was a
Um,
good one because I remember
So I don't know if that's a retail garage and repair shop. I don't know. Automotive. I'm not sure what
yeah,
that
I'll add something
qualifies, but
to capture that. Yeah.
He was going to sell
Yeah.
heavy equipment, I think, like maybe was it cranes and other big equipment,
yeah, I was like diggers and things like that.
and he wanted like an exit or entry onto 495.
No, he wanted to put his stuff so you could see it on 495.
Oh, okay. I thought he was also saying he wanted egress and
No.
ingress somehow.
That was a different project, Austin. The one that
Ah.
Mike's referring to was at the Colonial Candies location.
That was my recollection too. I thought he said he was even considering trying to get onto 495, and I thought that was
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
Good
even
luck
possible.
with that.
If he did, I might have forgotten because I knew it would never happen.
Yeah,
I know,
I
right?
think that was something you could do as a business.
Okay. Well, yeah. So a great start, and we can figure out if there's anything else that we want, things we want to change, and then
Right.
and get feedback to you, and obviously let Bob go through it as well.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else
I
we want
just
to
asked that
discuss?
you track your comments so we can keep track of what's changed and who has concerns about what.
Yep. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about with this?
I don't have anything else I want to discuss with you.
Okay. We'll move on to zoning bylaw changes as the next agenda item.
We had created a list, I think last year, of some kind of low-lying stuff that maybe we wanted to clean up. Not like the bigger items, so I just included that as an attachment to your email. We got some of them done last year, but there's a few things I just wanted to discuss to see if there was anything we wanted to place on the town meeting warrant because they would need to be done in March.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues was driveways. We don't have any sort of minimum or maximum widths or setbacks from intersecting roadways, that type of thing. So if we're going to keep them under jurisdiction of the planning board, it might be beneficial to add some additional details. We require a special permit for backland lots. That was another one, but we don't require any development proposals for them. We basically have been reviewing them through the A&R process. So I didn't know if we wanted to incorporate additional requirements, and if we didn't, if we wanted to decrease the review process and almost allow it through maybe a zoning administrator process or a by right with restrictions.
I think you said when you first got here that backland lots are not a common thing. It's just
I've been seeing them more in the rural communities.
okay.
We have some. I know Hudson had a few that about us. They're just lot configurations.
I mean, anything that
obscure.
makes your job easy, we are in favor of amending. Like hopefully you've seen at this point that the board, isn't, we don't want to micromanage every little detail. And if there's things that that are easier for you or to delegate to someone else, I think we're generally in favor of those. So the driveways one is so that's an interesting example. So what would we give up? Like right now we give input on plans where we'd like people to have their driveway, but I don't know if is that always we give just our input, or I think they kind of by right put a driveway in.
You mean for like two abutting lots and we want one curb shared driveway, that type of thing?
Yeah, that, but even where they put their drive, just a regular A&R lot, like, do we control that, or do they?
Well, we can set design requirements, so making sure the lines of sights obviously are clear. It's set back from intersecting streets or a certain a certain distance from abutting driveways, just to make sure there's spaces in between. I don't know that you can say I want my driveway at this location without any sort of design standard that it would have to adhere to.
Okay, so if we made the zoning changed, the driveways aren't under the jurisdiction of the planning board, what would that mean for? I mean, the only time we really seem to do much with driveways, we don't even set the surety. Like, we just release sureties, or at least the board does. I'm sure you do much more in your day-to-day job.
Yeah, that we do collect that. It is under your jurisdiction, so I've only really brought them unless they're shared or there's some sort of problem, like the situation we had with Forbush Mill. If it's just a driveway which services a single family, I don't typically bring them before the board. But like when we ran into the house lots on Forbush Mill Road, we didn't have any sort of with requirements for driveways, and then he proposed a shared driveway, and we debated how wide it had to be, that type of thing.
Yeah, okay. The other ones seem pretty straightforward. A couple different parking requirements.
Occupations was one. We don't really have a lot to go by when those become problematic.
Sorry, which ones? Home occupations?
Yeah, our current home occupation bylaw.
What does that mean again? Is that's basically to be considered a resident of the town?
Nope, that it allows certain business uses as part of your home, your residential home. So we have a requirement that the owner of the business has to reside in the home where the business is located, but it just says it has to be incidental to the house, and sometimes things get a little out of our hands, and we don't have a lot to enforce it with. So sometimes people are storing commercial vehicles. kind of operating, it can morph into like a landscaping use out of someone's backyard. And
Yeah,
then neighbors complain and we don't have a whole lot to navigate or use the bylaw to enforce it.
got it. Okay.
Some of those are permit, right? But others are,
We allow all home occupations by right.
oh, really?
Yeah.
We've done, I mean, like that, what was it, the Babcool Art for on Sugar Road. I thought them a special permit. Maybe that wasn't considered a home occupation.
What was
Um,
it? I can look it up.
The Babcool Art, I think is the name of it. It's on Sugar Road. Kind of
Yeah,
right near the
I know what you're
intersection
talking about. It's like a
of Gold Run.
studio.
Yeah,
It's a
they
studio
definitely
space.
came, yeah, they came to the planning board years ago to do a permit on that. And so I don't, maybe that's the home occupation. I wonder if that was the barn bylaw or something. It's probably what.
I'm not familiar with it, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, so what sort of things for home occupation? I mean, you don't want to move them by right to special permit, I assume?
No, I just want to set additional standards, so if things become problematic or intrusive to neighbors, we have something to kind of keep it under control, so it doesn't have such a large impact on
Yeah.
the
Do
residential
we,
use.
so, okay, so have kind of a defined allowed uses for by right and then other things by a special permit, maybe?
Yeah, and just make it, and kind of, it's more exterior, home offices obviously are not an issue, but exterior storage of materials becomes an issue. Uses conducted in the yard outside of the home are often a problem.
Okay.
So, and we don't have much to
I mean,
kind of.
that's a good one that we should some more detail on that. So I'm fine with.
We do get a lot of them, and I certainly don't. Most of them are people just doing online businesses or remote work from their house, and they need business certificates. And I don't want to bring those types of things to the board. I don't think you want to hear them. It's
Yeah,
more
no.
the other stuff. Yeah.
Eric's phone is about to, he may not be able to get back into the meeting. So,
Mm.
yeah, this is to help you out as much as to help. So if there's, if you want to put in some restrictions on there, but we're happy to review those.
Okay. Yeah, not a ton of stuff. Just I think if we just add a few additional restrictions into the existing bylaw, we should be fine.
Yep. Building height is not applicable to residential cultural uses. Is that right? I thought we had building height restriction because we don't have a ladder truck.
Not for residential uses. It
Oh,
only
for
applies to
residential.
business and commercial, yeah.
Okay.
And it's 35 feet for those.
Yep. Okay.
But barns and things, or detached accessory structures, there's no height limitation on those.
Okay.
So
And
not
that
that this
issue, do you
is
think?
likely, I'm sorry, what's that?
You think?
Like, you're still going in and out. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, I'm saying, is that an existing issue, do you think? Like,
It hasn't been, but I was just, don't want to wait until it is.
yep, that's good.
So I think we could address that under home occupation amendments.
Okay. And then the local preference definition. What's
Yeah, our inclusionary bylaw has reference to the select board defining our inclusionary, or defining our local preference definition for some reason. It's a little odd, so I just wanted to change that and reference the state requirement under 40B. I think that was the intention of that.
Okay. And the last one in there, that major residential developments are no longer permitted by special permit. What is the major residential development? Not a subdivision?
We require they come in for special permit under Fosford. instead of a conventional subdivision. And you can't, that's not legal, that's not permissible. We can leave it as it is, I just wanna point it out that the bylaw is no longer allowed.
So what was considered a major residential development was a certain number of houses.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Let me just make sure.
Oh, so basically developments over 6 houses have to go through subdivision at this point?
We required them to utilize a phosphid bylaw,
We can't force them to go through
and
phosphid.
we can't force them, yeah, you can't
Yeah.
force a subdivision to be associated with the special permit. So either you set the zoning and allow the subdivision, or you give it as an option, but you can't require it.
We can recommend it though, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Heavily.
Seems like a big change. Is maybe I'm not understanding this properly.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It seems like a big change. That we. So how do we do a 6, house subdivision now? Not we. Like it was always the case. Sorry, yeah. Maybe I'm just not. What
So
what this means.
they could come in. I'll share the bylaw with you. They can come in, right now our bylaw makes them consider, it's 6 or more residential lots here.
Yep.
Makes them do the phosphid designation. We can't
As
require
well as
that.
I see.
Yeah, they can have that.
But didn't we change so wasn't that the bylaw we just changed to basically make them all do phosphid?
In 2025.
Yeah,
Last
isn't
year.
that what one of the bylaw changes that we did?
We didn't make them.
We just updated
No, we
phosphid.
provide it as a
That's
special permit option, so that's the
okay.
difference, you can't require it. And this major
Okay.
residential development section of our bylaw, requires a special permit, so it, is my screen sharing correct?
we
Yes,
can
it
see
is now. Yep.
Okay, yeah, so it says approval shall be allowed only through a special permit process set forth in 25014. We can't do that. That's no longer that's not legal anymore. So
You can't have the word only.
right, can be or is encouraged to, but you can't require it.
Right.
But otherwise they would go through subdivision process, right? Which isn't that all special?
Yeah, subdivision's a subdivision. You just can't
Okay.
require every subdivision. Like you can't require a 6-lot subdivision to be associated with a special permit. If they choose to do that special permit, they can, but they have to have the right to submit a conventional subdivision, which is only to be reviewed under the subdivision regulations.
I got you. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not a special permit for a subdivision, is what you're saying, even though we go
Right.
through it in all the detailed ways, but it's not a special permit at the end of the day.
Correct. Right. So we can't make them do the phosphid.
Because a special permit we could reject, whereas a subdivision, we can't reject it, right? Am I understanding that? I think so.
So we can wait and see if it becomes a problem, or we can reword it so it's not so stringent and required, but more encouraged.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So there's no way to reject a subdivision?
If it doesn't meet our subdivision regulations, then you
Okay.
have to be specific about what regulations it doesn't satisfy.
Yeah.
Understand. So we don't have just the ability to say no for any reason. I see. Got it. Okay.
Right. Special permit it's a whole other process and a whole other MGL reference, and it's more discretionary.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
I took one of those the Central Mass Planning special permits, and it was useful for that. What you can reject with a special permit versus what you can't with the review, or the other thing was, I forget. But okay.
Mhm.
Okay, these look good. Discussion.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you again.
This is crazy. This is
Michael, do you know
wipe down.
sign language?
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, is it any better when I hold it up? Can you?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think a little bit.
So weird. Okay. I even bought good wired headphones for this. Okay, so that was everything left on zoning bylaw changes. So let's review the minutes from November 3rd.
There should be a link. They weren't attached. There was a link to the OneDrive.
Oh, yep. Okay, I gotcha.
And they're just the meeting notes we kind of already reviewed from our forum. We just have to officially approve the minutes.
Oh, right. Yep. I will make a motion to approve the minutes from December 3rd,
Oh, if Eric,
2025.
I'm sorry, if Eric's not here, we're not gonna have a quorum to do it.
Oh, okay.
Because that's out as well. So.
All right, we'll do that on the next one then.
Okay.
Okay, anything else that Pam or the rest of the board wants to view?
No,
Just
I
one
got an
question.
update about that, the 7-Eleven to 713 Main Street project, and I just informed the board that it was a requirement that they submitted with the original notice of intent application, and it was a note that was not asked for by the commission, but provided by them on the plan. And so when the order was approved, that note was on the plan, so that condition is in effect. For the
And they
no
won't-
parking on the driveway.
And they won't, so, but the applicant now says, I don't want that to be the case. There's
Then
no
he'll
way
have
to, they can't amend that, or they just have to go
He
through it.
can
and
amend it. I don't think he wanted to go through
I see.
the process. I'm not sure.
All right, I know Bob was about that one, so we can leave that one up if he wants to discuss anything about it.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't have anything else. So if no one else has anything, make a motion to.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Okay, have a good night,
Yes.
everyone. We'll see you in 2
Thank you.
weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.